Think and communicate strategically is one of the key aspects in a business. Because in the business, more or less, you have to think strategically and communicate it very strategically as well too. So it's not only depends on your C-suite executive, it's also very important even in director level, even in manager level, and even sometime in executive level as well too, because the way of the industry and the business too. So that can only be done when you do the right training, because based on the different company, you have different level of strategic communication, you have different type of customer, you have different kind of engagement with your competitor and industry and landscape and country and culture. So, and people coming from all over the world or particular city, and they have their own way of doing this one too. So it's very much important that you define your own strategy and communication, and then you train everyone on that communication and strategy. And so make sure that so that training program will help them they will be able to communicate with your internal team and external team and also in clients very strategically and properly. Number one, looking at the big picture. So it's so much important that everybody need to look at the big picture of the company. So there's a common mistake happen that people often complain about it because they just have their own perspective. Let's say somebody working on IT or IT leadership, somebody work on marketing, somebody working on sales. They're all looking into their own perspective and they're very much looking from their own shoe. But whenever they're coming and bringing a particular problem or particular solution or particular strategy, it's so much important that they need to put themselves to other people's shoes. So they will be able to bring a better quality opinion, strategy, and solution for a particular problem for your company. So that's why you need to train them to think and communicate strategically. Number two, your company, what is that? Your company is always a never-ending series of problems. You're solving problem internally, your employee problem, your staff problem, your operation problem, your customer problem, your legal problem, and so on. There's a long list of problems, and that's why your teams are working on every day to solve such kind of problems. So it's so much important that you train them in the right way so they can think and communicate very strategically so they can work on that problem and bring those the right solution, right possible solution, because every best solution is not the right solution for you because of your company strategies, company product, industry, and resources, and so many things. So they need to understand and they need to do the right solution for that one. And that will only happen when you let them think and communicate strategically. Number three is the critical thinking. It's so much important. When it comes to solving a particular problem, they need to think in critical way. They need to be able to criticize themselves. They also need to think about deep dive about the problems. They will be able to look at the other people's perspective. They will be able to understand that one too. So it's so much important that they need to think critically. And that will only enable to your team when you actually train your staff about think and communicate in a strategic manner. Number four is internal communications. There is a lot of politics will be always in an organization. Even if you want to be a politics-free organization, you promote into it. That's amazing, right? But there will be some sort of politics. And normally, startups has the small politics because a small team, but more bigger company you become, more layers of leaderships you have, more it start to get more difficult into it. So that's why everybody needs to communicate in a very proper manner, and that will only happen think and communicate strategically. So everybody will stick to the strategy and they will drive forward to create a right result for your company. Number five, external communication. So now there's a lot of things that should not get out of the company. There are a lot of things should be inside the company. There is a lot of other input from outside the company need to be properly been filtered or properly been managed to communicate inside. Like an example, somebody made a big scam about your product outside the company, that can hurt the motivation of different peoples in your company. They may lose the trust in your product as well too. So internal and it's important. The external is also very much important too. So how you will manage those external communications, it's so much important when you actually train them so they will be able to manage those external communication in a better way by throwing a training program. Number 6, customer experience is so much important, because when you have a customer, right, you need to communicate with them, you need to work with them, you need to understand their pain point, you need to understand their complaint, you have to understand what is going to wow them, what is the particular thing they will not be happy about. And that will only happen when they can think and communicate strategically with the customer. So these are the 6 things you should be focusing about, which is actually clearly justify the return of investment of your think and communicate strategy programs for your company. So that's why you should be investing money for program to training or consultant to train your team, so they will be able to enable, communicate, and think and communicate strategically, internally, externally, and all this aspect. And that will clearly generate right revenue stream, right sustain, and define a return of investment. So your company, you're working on to achieve more bigger goals. So I would like to say all the best, and yes, invest on your training and empowering your staffs, and that's why it will happen, because investing on your own people is one of the best investment decisions you can always make.